They come there expecting to find native people maybe scrapping out a living. And you're struck instantly about how is this possible? How could anyone have made any of these statues, much less hundreds of them, on such scale?
Every civilization leaves behind traces of its story, but few mysteries have endured like the silent guardians of Easter Island. Rising from the earth, these colossal stone figures have stared across the Pacific for centuries, their expressionless faces defying time, weather, and human understanding. Generations of explorers, historians, and scientists have stood before them, searching for answers to who built them, why they were created, and what they truly represent. The Moai statues have long been seen as symbols of isolation and human ambition, yet beneath their familiar heads lies something far more extraordinary. Recent archaeological work has peeled back layers of soil and secrecy, revealing a hidden truth buried for centuries. Beneath the famous heads are full bodies, etched with intricate carvings and wrapped in symbolism that reshapes everything we thought we knew about Easter Island. This is not just a story of stone figures, but of a people whose legacy still speaks through the earth itself. For years, the world saw the Moai statues of Easter Island as silent faces rising from the ground, mysterious and immovable. Tourists stood before them, captivated by their size and expression, unaware that what they were seeing was only half the story. Beneath the earth, hidden for centuries, the rest of these colossal figures waited to be rediscovered. When archaeologists began to excavate the slopes of Rano Raraku, where most of the statues were carved, they uncovered a revelation that stunned even the experts. The Moai were never just heads. They were complete bodies, sculpted with painstaking care. Their torsos, hands, and even backs etched with carvings that had not seen daylight in hundreds of years. The Rapa Nui people who created these monuments did not intend for them to appear as disembodied heads. Each figure was carved in full, representing the ancestors who were believed to watch over the living. Their hands were positioned carefully along elongated torsos, sometimes resting on the stomach or hips, and intricate designs were carved into the stone, symbols of family lineage, celestial events, and spiritual beliefs. What had long been thought to be simple heads were, in truth, deeply detailed creations reflecting the artistic and religious sophistication of an ancient culture. Archaeologists were astonished by what they found preserved beneath layers of earth. These carvings had survived almost untouched by time, protected by the soil that had engulfed them. Many of the designs were geometric, while others depicted birds, waves, and figures that seemed to tell stories. Some researchers believe these were not merely decorations, but spiritual inscriptions, invoking the protective power of the ancestors or connecting the statues to the cosmos. It was as if the hidden sections of the Moai held a secret dialogue between the people and the universe, a silent language carved in stone and buried by time. The mystery then shifted from what the statues were to how they became buried. For centuries, the haunting image of the Moai emerging from the ground had inspired countless theories. Some believed the Rapa Nui intentionally buried them during rituals or as a symbolic act. However, scientific research revealed a more natural explanation. The slopes of Rano Raraku, composed of soft volcanic tuff, were prone to erosion. Over the centuries, rainwater, wind, and volcanic activity caused soil to flow downhill, gradually building up around the statues. Layer by layer, the earth consumed their lower halves until only their heads remained above the surface. This slow process transformed the landscape, creating the illusion that the statues were intentionally embedded in the ground. Nature had sculpted the mystery itself, and in doing so, preserved one of the greatest archaeological treasures on the planet. The soil that once concealed the Moai also safeguarded their artistry from erosion and human interference. By analyzing the sediment surrounding the statues, scientists were able to trace the timeline of these natural events, revealing that the Moai had once stood proudly above the earth in their entirety before time itself reshaped their appearance. The discovery of the hidden bodies didn't just reveal more stone, it revealed stories, craftsmanship, and a spiritual depth that had been forgotten. The carvings on the buried sections spoke of a people whose connection to the land and sky was profound. Each Moai, it seemed, was a spiritual guardian channeling the energy of the ancestors, a belief known to the Rapa Nui as mana. These statues were not passive monuments, but living symbols of protection and continuity. The Rapa Nui believed their ancestors continued to exist through the Moai, ensuring fertility, harmony, and guidance for future generations. Some of the most breathtaking discoveries came when researchers realized that many of the carvings aligned with celestial patterns. The placement of certain symbols suggested knowledge of astronomy. The Rapa Nui may have aligned their statues with the movement of the sun, moon, or stars. This fusion of art, spirituality, and cosmic understanding painted a vivid picture of a civilization deeply in tune with both the natural world and the mysteries beyond it. The engineering behind the statues added yet another layer of wonder. Some Moai stand more than 30 feet tall and weigh over 80 tons. Despite their size, their surfaces, even those long buried, display remarkable precision. The sculptors worked with volcanic stone that, while soft, demanded immense skill to shape without breaking. The level of craftsmanship on the portions never meant to be buried demonstrates how much care and reverence went into their creation. These were not hurried works or functional markers. They were masterpieces born from devotion, meant to embody the very soul of the island's people. With the buried bodies now unearthed, the image of Easter Island that the world once knew has changed forever. The Moai are no longer seen as heads watching from the earth, but as full figures representing the union of sky and soil, spirit and substance. Their upper halves, exposed to the elements, symbolize the ancestors' gaze, the eternal watchers over the living. Their buried bodies, anchored deep in the ground, connect them to the very earth that sustained their people. The symbolism is powerful. The Moai exist in both worlds, the spiritual and the physical, just as the Rapa Nui believed their ancestors did. This understanding reshapes the narrative of Easter Island itself. What was once perceived as isolation and mystery is now understood as evidence of a complex and spiritually rich society. The Rapa Nui were not simply carving stone, they were creating a bridge between the living and the dead, the heavens and the earth. Each Moai stands as a testament to their worldview. That existence is not divided, but continuous. That life and death are woven together through the land they inhabit. Today, as archaeologists continue their work, the revelation of the Moai's full form continues to captivate the world. The ground beneath Easter Island has given up its secrets slowly, revealing not only the craftsmanship of the Rapa Nui, but also their philosophy of life. These statues, once thought to be silent sentinels, now speak volumes about faith, identity, and endurance. They remind us that even the most familiar monuments can still hide untold stories just beneath the surface, waiting for the earth to whisper them back into the light. Scattered across Easter Island are nearly 900 Moai statues, silent giants carved from volcanic tuff, a material soft enough to shape yet durable enough to endure centuries of exposure. Most of them rise from the slopes of Rano Raraku, the ancient quarry that served as both workshop and sacred ground. Using nothing more than basalt tools, the Rapa Nui people shaped each statue with extraordinary precision. The average Moai stands about 13 feet tall and weighs close to 13 tons, but some far exceed that. One unfinished colossus, nicknamed El Gigante, would have stood over 70 feet tall and weighed around 150 tons if completed. The sheer size and number of these figures challenge every assumption about what an isolated island civilization could achieve with limited resources and no advanced machinery. Archaeological evidence shows that the Moai were carved directly from the quarry's rock face. Once shaped, the Rapa Nui carefully separated the statues from the stone and prepared them for an extraordinary journey to their final resting places. These destinations were not random. They were ceremonial platforms known as ahu, constructed along the island's coastlines. The ahu served as sacred shrines, connecting the people to their ancestors and the spirits of the land. When each statue was erected, it faced inward toward the villages, symbolizing protection and watchfulness over the living. This orientation was deliberate and meaningful, a constant reminder that the ancestors were present, their gaze fixed on the generations that followed. The craftsmanship is nothing short of astonishing. With simple stone tools and human effort, the Rapa Nui achieved perfect symmetry, smooth surfaces, and carefully proportioned forms. Even the smallest details were refined, showing not only artistic mastery, but also a profound sense of purpose. Every chisel mark carried intention, every curve a reflection of spiritual reverence. These were not mere sculptures, but embodiments of the Rapa Nui worldview, each Moai a guardian channeling ancestral energy into the world of the living. Yet, as awe-inspiring as their creation is, one mystery long overshadowed the artistry: how these massive statues were moved. Transporting such immense structures without modern equipment seems almost impossible, and for years, theories abounded. Early researchers suggested the statues were dragged on wooden sledges or rolled on logs, a notion that fed into the long-held belief that deforestation caused the island's ecological downfall. But the Rapa Nui oral traditions spoke of something different, that the statues walked to their destinations. For generations, this claim was dismissed as legend, a poetic metaphor for a feat that seemed beyond human capability. Then came the research that changed everything. Through advanced 3D modeling, experiments, and close examination of the statue's bases, archaeologists discovered that the design of the Moai itself might hold the answer. The bases are slightly curved and shaped like a D, allowing the statues to rock from side to side. This subtle engineering feature meant they could be moved upright, not dragged. With teams of people pulling on ropes in a coordinated rhythm, the statues could pivot and advance forward in a controlled swaying motion. In essence, the Moai could indeed walk. This revelation bridged myth and science. It proved that the Rapa Nui oral histories were not just symbolic stories, but memories of real practices passed down through time. Experimental archaeologists tested the theory using replica statues weighing several tons. With only a few dozen people, ropes, and balance, they successfully moved them over significant distances. The sight of these replicas inching forward, swaying side to side, gave new life to the phrase, "the Moai walked." It was no longer a mystery or miracle, but a brilliant example of human ingenuity. What makes this discovery even more significant is how it restores dignity and recognition to the Rapa Nui people. For decades, Western interpretations portrayed them as a society that destroyed its environment in pursuit of ambition. But the evidence now tells a different story, one of adaptation, intelligence, and respect for the land. The Rapa Nui did not recklessly deplete their resources. They managed them, organized labor, and engineered monumental works of art that remain unmatched in scale and meaning. The full excavation of the Moai bodies deepened this understanding even further. Beneath the earth, archaeologists uncovered carvings that had been hidden for centuries. Geometric shapes, wave patterns, bird motifs, and symbols etched into the stone revealed layers of belief and identity. These designs, many aligned with astronomical patterns, suggest that the Rapa Nui's knowledge extended beyond the island's borders to the celestial realm. They saw the universe as interconnected, with the Earth, the ancestors, and the stars all part of a single, living system. When viewed in their entirety, the Moai take on a new symbolism. Their towering heads represent the ancestral spirits gazing toward the people, while their buried bodies anchor them to the soil, the source of life. The duality is powerful. The Moai stand between worlds, bridging the physical and the spiritual. To the Rapa Nui, this balance was the essence of existence. Life and death, sky and earth, human and divine, all were threads woven together in one continuous cycle. The rediscovery of the Moai's full form has rewritten the narrative of Easter Island. What was once seen as a desolate landscape of stone heads is now recognized as a living monument to a civilization of remarkable depth. The Rapa Nui were not lost or broken. They were enduring. Their art, architecture, and spirituality continue to speak across centuries, reminding us that human creativity thrives even in isolation. This understanding also reshapes how the world views their legacy. The Moai are not relics of a vanished people, but proof of resilience and vision. Each statue stands as a voice from the past, telling a story of community, devotion, and unity with nature. The discovery of their buried bodies and the revelation of their movement techniques bring the Rapa Nui out of the shadows of misunderstanding and into the light of recognition they have long deserved. As researchers continue to uncover new details, every finding reinforces a deeper truth, that the Moai are more than ancient stone figures. They are a message carved into the earth, one that speaks of perseverance, spirituality, and the unbreakable bond between people and their ancestors. Their presence challenges us to look closer at the past, to see not just what is visible above the surface, but what lies hidden beneath, waiting to reveal the full story. And in that revelation, the silence of Easter Island becomes something profound, a whisper from history that still commands awe. For generations, the story of Easter Island was told as a tragedy of self-destruction, a civilization that brought about its own downfall by cutting down its forests to move massive stone statues. The popular belief was that the Rapa Nui people exhausted their resources, triggering famine and war, leaving only the moai as silent reminders of human excess. But new research has uncovered a far different truth, one that challenges decades of misconception. Studies of pollen, soil, and archaeological remains reveal that the Rapa Nui were not reckless exploiters, but skilled survivors. The deforestation that occurred was not solely the result of human activity, but also of changing climate conditions, invasive species like the Polynesian rat, and the island's natural limitations. Despite these challenges, the Rapa Nui adapted with remarkable ingenuity. They developed advanced agricultural systems known as rock gardens, using layers of stones to trap moisture and protect fragile crops from strong coastal winds. These innovations allowed their society to endure far longer than once believed, defying the myth of sudden collapse. The decline of the Rapa Nui civilization, it now appears, was not a product of their own actions, but of outside forces. When European ships reached the island in the 18th century, they brought diseases that decimated the population and slave raids that tore families apart. These invasions shattered a society that had already been weakened by isolation, marking the true beginning of their decline. What once was viewed as a tale of failure now stands as a story of endurance, resilience, and the will to survive. The moai, rather than being monuments to ruin, are now understood as symbols of perseverance, the lasting imprint of a people who thrived against unimaginable odds. This new understanding has ushered in a modern era of discovery. Advanced technology is giving researchers tools to uncover the island's remaining secrets with unprecedented accuracy. Through 3D scanning, ground-penetrating radar, and drone mapping, scientists can now study the microscopic tool marks left by ancient carvers, analyze the mineral composition of the volcanic tuff, and reconstruct the routes the moai traveled centuries ago. Yet these breakthroughs are not being made by science alone. Collaboration with the Rapa Nui descendants has become central to every excavation. Their oral traditions, spiritual insights, and historical memory are guiding the interpretation of findings, ensuring that every discovery honors the people who built these monuments. Each carving uncovered and each symbol revealed brings their ancestors' voices back to life. The story of the moai has become more than an archaeological revelation. It is a reflection on humanity itself. These statues, once thought to mark the fall of a civilization, now teach us about balance, connection, and the endurance of cultural identity. They remind us that even when time buries history beneath the earth, truth has a way of resurfacing. The Rapa Nui's devotion to their ancestors, their ability to adapt, and their unity in the face of adversity reveal a powerful message that still resonates today. Beneath the surface of stone lies the story of a people who refused to be forgotten, and with every excavation, their legacy rises again, a haunting reminder of strength carved into the heart of the Pacific. Beneath Easter Island's wind-swept plains, the Earth has preserved a story of resilience, devotion, and genius. What archaeologists have uncovered is not just buried stone, but the enduring spirit of a people whose achievements still defy explanation. The moai are no longer silent. Through excavation and discovery, they have begun to speak again. Their message is one of continuity, that even when buried by time, truth finds its way back to the surface. Each statue stands as a bridge between worlds, linking the living and the dead, the past and the present, and the human and the divine. If this story moved you or made you see Easter Island in a new light, take a moment to let us know your thoughts below. What do you think the Moai still have to teach us? Don't forget to like the video, share it with others who love uncovering history's hidden layers, and subscribe for more deep explorations into the world's greatest mysteries.